Welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm Ian Carlos Crawford, and joining me for this Patreon episode today, she is a co-host of Fangs for the Memories.
Yes, Leslie Rising.
Hi, Leslie.
Hi.
And she is fanfic writer and one of the founders of Elysian Fields.
Holly.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm so glad to have you both here to talk Buffy Season 3 Lover's Walk. It is the 25th anniversary of this episode. Season 3 has just been really fun going through. I don't know how either of you feel, but it's like, I think it's maybe, in my brain, the best season, my second favorite season after 5. I feel like it has no skips. But before we get into the episode, Holly, do you want to start us off with your Buffy origin story?
Oh, Lord, sure. It's kind of convoluted. When I was a junior, it was between my junior and senior year of high school, a friend of mine came down with pneumonia, and she had just gotten the first 2 seasons of Buffy on DVD. And I went over to keep her company, and she wanted to watch her new Buffy DVDs, and I was very skeptical. And then it was like, joke's on me, because now I'm addicted to it. And 20 plus years later, I am still active in fandom. I helped found an archive with 5 other lovely ladies. And I'm here to talk about my obsession.
Do you remember, when your friend got the DVDs, was it when the show, like when they were just coming out, or like it already had?
Yeah, they were just coming out. Leslie and I were talking a bit before we started recording. My first job, I actually went, one of my first purchases was to get Buffy season 1 and season 2. Season 3 had not come out yet. And so yeah, I binged all of those. It was like 2 a.m. in the morning. It was 2 a.m. when Spike came in and rescued Buffy at the end of Becoming Part 2, and I screamed at the top of my lungs and probably woke up the entire house. And then I looked at anything I could get on the show. I started recording episodes off of FX because they were doing the reruns.
Yeah.
Looking at all of the content that I could possibly get. It was the summer between season 6 and season 7 airing, so season 7 was the only one I got to watch live.
Okay, I love that. Leslie, what is your Buffy origin?
Yeah, so I started watching it. I think it was FX when it came on like really early in the morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to watch it before school a lot during high school. And then when I got out of high school, I was in a Rocky Horror Picture Show like Shadowcast in Orlando called the Rich Weirdos.
Oh, I love
and
that.
We did a like Rocky Horror Shadowcasty style version of the musical song or the musical episode. And I just played like a background person or whatever, but we got to like go to like conventions and stuff and like perform it. And I think we did eventually go to a convention in Tampa where Anthony Stewart Head was there.
That's so cool.
It was really, really crazy. So that was like a million years ago. That was like 2004 maybe. But yeah, just been a big fan. Obviously.
I love that performing in the musical is what got you into the show.
Yeah, definitely. It was one of those things. It's like, well, there's a lot going on here that I don't really understand. So maybe I should go back and watch the whole thing and figure it out.
Leslie, what do you think this time around watching it?
Yeah. So, in Thanks for the Memories, we are on season 5 right now. So we're in the middle of season 5. So season 3 was a little while ago. So it was interesting to go back. It was definitely interesting to see Angel again. And, where we are, Riley has just moved on and we're in the middle of like kind of getting to know Spike. So I kind of missed my baby boy Angel and his weird, like brutalist concrete mansion that he lives in.
Holly, what do you think rewatching it this time?
It was a lot of fun to watch it like more analytically than I have in the past. Most of the time it's just, it's one of my favorite season 3 episodes. I thought I liked picking up on a few things that, especially regarding Willow and her magic usage. I feel like this might be one of the first times we see her actually try to use magic to avoid feelings or to avoid having to go through anything uncomfortable in her life. It's one of the things that she starts doing like a lot. I love this is one of my favorite episodes because I love the Spike Joyce dynamic in this so much. It's it was a lot of fun. In my rewatch right now, I'm in season 2, so I haven't gotten. So it's at the I just watched like Lie to Me, so I'm right at the beginning of the Bangel drama. And so it was kind of fun to come in and see the end of not the end, but the I guess the break of the Angel drama before it continues.
But okay, so the episode opens. I like seeing them all just like happy. They're hanging out. They're planning hangouts. But so Willow is upset about her SAT scores. I like that Xander points out that her upset about her verbal score is like his total score. We get Oz and Cordelia. I like Cordelia's line of, "That's great. Now you can leave and never come back." I mean that in a positive way. Get out of Sunnydale. What kind of moron would ever want to come back here? And I do feel like that kind of sums up Cordelia because she does mean it in a positive way, right? Like, she is like, "Oh, that's great for you because who the fuck wants to stay here?" But it comes off as like, "Get the fuck away from me." But we know Cordelia, so we know that's not what she means it as.
Yeah, I think it's funny. It's almost like a moment of like, because she she was so mean to everybody until she like started to be in their fold, and it was almost like a reversion. She's like, "Oh wait, no, these are my friends. I have to be nice to them about this."
And it felt very earnest to me because it's exactly what she does. She goes to LA and that's where she stays.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And Holly, after Cordelia says, "What kind of moron would ever want to come back here?" who comes crashing into the Sunnydale sign?
My boyfriend, Spike.
That poor sign has been, they must have spent so much like city dollars revamping that sign every time some monster drives their car through it.
It's not just some monster. It's always Spike. Let's be real.
That's true. Yeah. And, he even says "home sweet home" like the first time. And then we cut to credits. And post-credits, we get Spike walking around the burnt-down remains of the factory where they used to hang out, which I did in my brain. I was like, wait a minute, but why wouldn't he have gone to the Crawford? Oh, right. They were only in the Crawford mansion for what, like 3 episodes, I think, at the end of the season, maybe 4, something like that, I think. So I guess it makes sense that, like, Drew's dolls would have still been there and, like, shit like that. But yeah, so we learned that Drew has left him. He's really upset. He's like drunk for a very long time.
He's drunk the whole day for like a day and a half.
It's pretty impressive.
Like, yeah. I do think it's funny. There's one little moment. So in season 5 is Spike's like origin story episode. And there's a scene where they have a flashback of him and Drew breaking up because he can't get over Buffy. And Drew is like making out with a slime monster who has slime and antlers. And it's so funny because this is season 3, but he says Drew broke up with me for a chaos demon. Have you seen them? They're all slime and antlers. So I thought that was so clever to like bring that back because it's just like a little throwaway line, but then to bring it back and have this like huge character with these huge like 3-foot tall antlers was like, oh my God, there's just a little Easter egg for the people that are really paying attention.
And that's especially noteworthy in the era that this was filming in, because that wasn't like the people could go back and like they can now
exactly
on Netflix and just watch the first 3 seasons. Oh, he set this up here, and like not unless you were recording the episodes as they were airing, which some of us did, but but I mean it's a big payoff, and it really only pays off, I think, if you watch them in this binge mode, because then you're like, oh yeah, they mentioned that, I saw that last week. So
yeah. Oz, they meet up with Oz and Willow, who then walk over to Willow's locker, and what does he give her as a little present, Leslie?
It's a witch Pez dispenser. So cute. It's so cute.
I don't know if you both are like into like the collectible stuff, but like they released that with in scale with the action figures, like a little witch Pez dispenser, and it's like,
oh my God,
one of my favorite ridiculous accessories they ever included with stuff. Because it is ridiculous, but like, yes, sure, I would love that.
Absolutely.
Willow says she's going to try something. She's afraid that they'll find out. We see Joyce telling Buffy about how she should go away. She even mentions, with Faith here. And Joyce asks what could possibly be keeping her in Sunnydale. And we see, which I think is a funny cut looking back, is that we cut to Spike watching Angel, and it's like, these are her 2 main love interests. So it's funny that like, in the context of this episode, Spike is just like the annoying villain who's there to like, cause chaos, but we know it's like, yes, these are the two men that will keep her in Sunnydale, that like would be the reason she would stay. And I kind of love that. I also love anytime Spike is like making fun of Angel. It always lands
Oh,
for
that's
me.
my favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite thing anytime.
I love sad, pathetic, like drunk, where he's just like, I'll show you who's a cool guy. Like, it's just so funny.
He plays pathetic so well, and I it's just and we were noticing this last night about how he can go from one extreme to the next on the dime, and it just he goes from being scary. Like there's a moment later, I'm skipping ahead, but there's a moment later where he is threatening Willow, and then he's terrifying, and then he becomes sad boy again, and it's like immediate.
It's insane.
Well, I always say that I think like James Marsters and Charisma Carpenter are like two actors that like are a little bit underrated in the Buffyverse because I think they have good chemistry with like any person they share a scene with.
Yeah.
And I think it's a credit to both of their acting. Like I think that's what it is.
Absolutely.
So he's making fun of Angel, then he drunkenly falls over, wakes up the next day, which again, still drunk, and like I love the thing I will always call the show on is we play so fast and loose with the vampire rules because like if it weren't a vampire we love, they would have absolutely burst into flames. But like,
of course, yeah, 100%.
Because it's one we love, it's like he's just a little on fire. That's okay.
Just a teeny bit on fire.
A little on fire.
No big deal. Willow's in there to get her stuff for the spell. Spike then sees her and changes his plan. The shop owner comes over to him. I like that she's like this like nice hippie Wicca lady. I don't love that he murders her, but I like that she like that's the type of person I would think would own this type of shop, right?
Yes.
We cut to Willow and Xander. She's doing the spell in the science lab. I like that Willow even says, I can't do this anymore. The whole us thing is bleh. And I was like, yes, I agree. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Correct, Willow. I don't know how you think that if you're still doing it, but okay. And then enter Spike. And I forgot he really beats the shit out of Xander. I like forgot how badly he beats him.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It feels like
I'm here for it. So I'm like, yes.
It feels like especially like brutal for like a Buffy, especially in season 3, like one of the human characters who's not dying gets like beaten.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm curious what both of you think of this scene because I do like this scene, but this is when I'm reminded, this is why Willow hates him. One of the reasons why Willow hates him so much. And it takes a while for her to like get used to him. But I do love like I mean, you mentioned earlier, James Marsters' acting is so good. He goes from like threatening her with the shard of glass to then like crying and saying, God, I'm so unhappy, which I fucking love. He's upset that Drew wouldn't kill him. And like Willow is also crying and trying to be like, what the fuck is going on? But I'm curious, what do you two think of this scene?
Just masterful, like just masterful. He is one of those. So there are many Buffy villains that are really memorable. Like the mayor is obviously great, Glory, but like him as a villain is so great because you feel so many emotions about him. You are terrified. You are like compassionate when he's upset. You are a little bit horny for him. Like he draws out so many emotions from you, and not just like a little bit. It's all the way. Like when he's terrifying, he's like pants-crappingly terrifying. Like he's so scary when he wants to be. And so this is just one of those examples.
They find out something happened. Buffy says something like, well, we know there was a fight here, so let's get Motor, hurry up. And they're going to get Giles, who's on his retreat, which I didn't realize till she said this, which I might have missed, that it's like very close. I thought it was like a far away retreat, but it's like in the woods, kind of nearby, right? He says it's like a 40-minute drive, I think.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder why he packed so much.
Right, yeah. Like, if you just go home and forgot something. So then she runs into the library and gets a phone call from her mother who wants to talk colleges. And then she hears Spike saying, hello, Joyce. And then we cut to a very fucking delightful scene of Joyce and Spike sitting in the Summers kitchen. And he is just rambling about Drusilla to her. And I love it.
I love it so much.
I love that when she
good.
tries to compare him and Drew's breakup to her and Hank's, he's like, no, this is different. We were true love. Like.
And I love that Spike has an invite to the Summers house, and the first thing he does, instead of going in there and killing Buffy's mom, is, can I have some cocoa with some marshmallows?
Angel shows up, and I also love this, where Joyce is like, I'll stick you myself, and Spike standing behind her, like, making faces, and, like, has this,
like going like, I'm gonna get
shit-eating
ya.
grin. Yeah.
I feel like we have to talk about Christine Sutherland's acting, too, since we talked about how great Charisma and
Yes.
Allison and James are. Because how in the world did they get through filming this scene without her cracking herself up? Just because he was in back
Seriously.
being such a fucking nuisance. And just hilarious and making faces, and like I don't know how she got through that. She's a champ.
It's so good. It's so good. Angel says something like blah, like something about like he's gonna get him after Spike says, "You're a very bad man."
Yes.
And he says, "You in what army?" And I love a Buffy moment where it's like, Buffy's got this, fuck off. And Buffy's like, that'd be me. And she's just right there to like throw him on the counter.
Yeah, Buffy is the army.
Yes. And I also love Joyce like catching up when she's like, Willow's a witch?
Yeah. And it says Spike says something about, oh, Xander too. And she's like, Xander's a witch?
Xander's a
Yeah.
witch. Yes. It's so good in
Yeah.
this little back and forth.
It is.
It's
It really
like
is.
reminiscing over having killed a homeless man on a bench and Buffy
Oh,
and Angel
God.
looking at him like, oh my God.
I love the blank expressions. And he's like, funnier if you were there, I guess. So they go into the magic box. They start to collect the like things he needs for Willow to do the spell. I do like that she says Spike can get the rat eyes.
It's like, I am not touching those.
Yeah, and so we get the big moment of the episode. I mean, not the action moment, but the big like, I don't know.
You are not friends speech.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the like,
Mhm.
I may be love's bitch, but I'm man enough to admit it. And he also says love isn't brains, children, it's blood, which is, a consistent thing throughout the show.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Which is like what he says in, the gift. We cut to Willow and Xander is waking up and he remembers fighting Spike.
Thinks he won.
Yeah, I do love Willow's plan B of he's so drunk he forgets about us and we starve to death.
Ever the optimist, Willow.
Yeah, and then they kiss and the camera sneakily pans over to Oz and Cordy watching. And I really feel fucking bad. It's like, man, like you were there to save your partners and they are hooking up.
I love Cordelia and I love Oz so much, and seeing
Yeah.
them hurt,
Yeah.
and especially since the show like doesn't center their pain as much as it does Willow and Xander's like guilt, which I don't love.
I agree.
But no, I understand where that comes from, though.
Yeah. But so then Cordelia runs and she falls through the steps and gets a fucking rebar through her side.
Oh,
Which
The worst.
always is so brutal. But okay, so we then cut to Buffy and Angel, and they're leaving the magic box with supplies, and they encounter a bunch of vampires. And I did not remember why they fight these vampires. I knew it's like because of Spike, but I was like, oh, sure, one of them worked for Spike. Okay, we just needed like, it's an episode of Buffy. We needed an action
gotta
scene.
have an action scene, yeah.
The mayor
Okay.
sent them there because they
Oh,
wanted.
that's right, yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
see?
he sends a committee.
Yes.
He sends a committee to deal with Spike because Spike is a loose cannon who will rock the boat. And is that a mixed metaphor? So,
Right. I didn't even put
a
that
loose
in my
cannon
notes.
would rock the boat, though. So maybe.
Welcome to
we-
Slayerfest 98. This is your host, Holly. I don't know shit. So they fight, and I kind of love that they use the whole street for the fight because they never do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The choreography of the fight is one of my favorites. It's so
Yeah.
good.
I think
Yeah,
it's like
I
really
agree.
good. I mean, like season 3, I do think has some pretty fucking great fight choreography in general, but I do really like, Buffy's fighting vamps here on the street, Spike's fighting them here, Angel's fighting them here. Like we run into the espresso pump. That's not shit they normally do. They don't normally, because I think they normally don't do that because it shows how small that street actually is.
Right.
But I do like
Right.
seeing them like kind of use the whole set, right?
Yeah, and I think maybe it worked
Yeah.
here because there were so many
Yeah.
there were so many bad guys to fight, so
Yeah.
it kind of like overcrowded the set and made it maybe look a bit larger than it was.
The vamps enter the magic box.
Angel gets stuck under a freaking door like a wimp.
Door. The one vampire tells Spike he heard he
What a
went
dink.
soft like baby food, and Spike says, "Let's give baby a taste."
I'm so here for it. It's so bad, but I love it so
No,
much.
I love it. I love it. I do love it.
Oh, I love it.
I'm like
So
laughing because I love
cheeseball.
it. They defeat them, because of course the three of them can defeat a group of vampire lackeys.
Obviously.
And I do like, Spike's like, don't tell me that wasn't fun. I love that he gets this like adrenaline high from the fight and he kind of like forgets that he's depressed. And he's like, oh yeah, you two just friends.
Right, yeah. Yeah, he has like post-nut clarity, but for fighting.
I also love when he's like, they're in the factory. Like he just kind of is like, and then leaves.
He's in such a good mood.
Yeah, because like how else were they going to wrap up the ending, They're just like kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, like that part doesn't matter because they're already saved. So yeah, that's where they are. We cut to the factory, this cut, there's a lot of very good cuts in this episode. The show itself in general does really good cuts, but this cut is like one that sticks with me forever. When he's like down there and like Cordy, and she like passes out and like you think is like her last breath. And then we fucking cut to the cemetery where a funeral's going on.
so awful.
And then Buffy and Willow walk by and go, so Cordelia's going to be okay?
Yeah. She's like, oh yeah, she lost a lot of blood. She's fine.
I just hate that so much because it's like, it just undercuts the real danger and the real pain that Cordelia was in. And it just feels really cheap. And like you said, Ian, there are good moments where like, yeah, they will kind of do this like bait and switch deal. And it does work. It does pay off. But this one just felt like so insulting almost. It's like, how dare you do that to Cordelia?
I have never heard it put like that. But as a Cordelia stan, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I could see that. And then we get our like Buffy going to Angel. Like you all said, it's like one of the many breakups this season. She kind of says she won't be coming back. She can lie to Giles, her mom, and her friends, but for some reason not Spike. Wink, wink. And Angel says there's got to be a way we can still see each other. And she says, there is. Tell me you don't love me.
Yeah, it's so melodramatic and
rich. See, so but I do like that because I think Sarah Michelle Gellar is so good. I just like...
Oh, no, she is great. I do want to point out in this, Angel's like, well, I don't accept that we're breaking up. I'm like, not until you actually decide that you want to go onto your own show. Of course not.
Until you want to walk off set to go to your Angel spin-off.
Yeah.
And then we get a montage of everyone being sad. Xander, goes to see Cordelia. She won't look at him. And this is like melodramatic, but I do kind of like it. I don't know. I like that it's got like a kind of down ending.
Yeah, I was like 100% sure that Everybody Hurts was going to start playing.
Yes. And I like that it's like everyone is sad until we get to Spike scream singing a punk cover of Did It My Way, driving off into the sunset, very happy.
Good for him. I'm happy for him.
I agree.
Yeah, he's really turning his unlife around.
His unlife. I like that.
That's another phrase that we got from this episode that appears in all fanfics for all time.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
I have an unlife to live here, From now on, that's how we will refer to a vampire life cycle.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I kind of love that. All right, let's get to our favorite things. What was your favorite scene, Leslie?
My favorite scene is definitely Spike just reading Buffy and Angel to filth, and also the end where he's driving off listening to punk Frank Sinatra with his blacked out windows, but he has like a little teeny bit like carved out so that he can still see the road. It's just so good. Excellent.
Holly?
Spike, Joyce, Angel, that entire exchange is gold. I love it so much.
I think for me, even when we were talking about it, I wanted to change my answer. Like even looking at it, I'm like, I don't know. I think it's Spike in the magic box reading them for filth, but there are just so many good scenes in this episode. It is hard because I'm like, oh, but I really like his like encounter with Willow where like he threatens her, but then is like, oh, I'm unhappy and is crying to her. But I also do like the scene with Joyce. Like they're all fucking good scenes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What was your favorite outfit, Holly?
I like what Cordelia was going to wear to their bowling date. She just looked so amazing for something that was so beneath her. She was made up. She was going all in. If she's going to go do this bowling date that she does not want to do, she's going to look fucking amazing doing it.
I love that.
I agree.
Leslie?
Yeah, Buffy's at the end when she goes to see Angel, her green cardigan and like brown dress pants with another little purse. She looks like she's on her way to show like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath colonial to some yuppie couple. Like the fashion up until I want to say like season 4 is like just totally baffling to me. Like anytime they go out to the club, they look like they're going to like work at like Remax or something like that. It's insane. But that specific green cardigan deal just got me
Rude,
this episode.
but fair. I think she wears these a lot, but I really like Willow's pink fuzzy sweater with the skirt. We eventually go overboard with those where like we get to Doppelgangland where it's like, that is an iconic look, but it is hideous. But I like this version where it is like a cute fitting, like fuzzy pink sweater that like doesn't look like she's drowning in it. It's like, I don't know. I think it does look cute on her. And I do feel like a lot of the weird season 2-3 fashion has almost circled back where like, not us because we are older, but like younger folks have started wearing that shit now, right? Don't you think?
I've seen it.
Stuff these days, it's like I was looking at that in like a Delia's catalog. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, someone was like talking about Jenkos, and I was like, I cannot go back to wearing Jenko jeans. I cannot. I refuse.
All my blood just turned to dust in my body.
Right. All right. And what do we think Dawn would have been doing in this episode? We probably all have the same answer or around the same. Leslie, you go first.
I think probably she would probably definitely be in this scene with Joyce and Spike.
Yeah.
So like she would also be getting the same information that Joyce is getting and like finding out that Willow's a witch and all that stuff. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Holly?
I agree. I don't know if this is based on anything other than all of the fanfic that I've read, but I don't think that Dawn likes Angel. So I think that she would have really enjoyed the back and forth once he showed up, and would have been harassing him the same way Spike was, because they have such a great relationship later, Dawn and Spike. So I feel like this was probably like laying the groundwork for that.
Yeah. My thing is, I think this would have like theoretically would have been like the first time Dawn like meets him and where her crush spurns from. Like, I feel like this, like, however old she would have been as like a kid, that's where like she would have first had her big crush on Spike, and then it would have, stuck with her as she grew up. But I could totally see like this hot guy who's like being really like sweet with you and your mom, but he's like a bad boy. Like, I have a crush on that. Like, I'm sure a like young like preteen girl would also have a crush on that, right?
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And I do think it would have been cute seeing like little Dawn in that scene. And yeah, I agree. I don't think she would have liked Angel, and I could have seen her absolutely taking Spike's side. What grade do we give this episode, Holly?
It's my favorite from season 3, so I will give it an A- just because it's, like I said, it's my favorite from season 3.
Cool. There's a reason I had you on for this episode, Holly. Leslie, what grade would you give this episode?
Yeah, also A-, and the minus is only because Oz was sad, and I never want that boy to be sad.
Yeah, my minus is because I hate all of the Willow Xander stuff. I hate it so much.
So that's why I give it a B+. It's only like, I do really love this episode, but I just really, really like, if there's a plot line on this show that like I fully hate, it's the Willow Xander like affair romance. And I'm fine with it because, like I said, they're kids or whatever, but so it's fine. But the show does it, but I just am like, I'm not like ever buying it.
That's so real of you.
Thanks. All right. Well, thank you both for joining me. This was a really fun discussion. Thank you all for listening. Holly, tell everyone where they can find you and Elysian Fields.
Well, you can find Elysian Fields at ElysianFieldsArchive.com. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm never going to call it X. I don't care what happens. At Buffy Fields. And on Instagram at Elysian Fields Archive.
Cool. And Leslie, where can everyone find you and your Buffy podcast?
Yeah, so I co-host Fangs for the Memories with my friend Kate. We took a look at the podcast landscape and said, "Yeah, I think the world could use another Buffy rewatch show." Um,
Never enough of
but
those.
you can get absolutely. So you can get links to all of our social media accounts, our Patreon, where we have kind of like off-topic, buck wild extra episodes, and access to the show at any podcasting app of choice. It's all under one roof at fangs.zone. I'm
Nice.
also a voice actor. I just wrapped up a video game called Text Me Back that should be coming out sometime next
Oh, cool.
year.
Cool.
I think it will, but who really knows?
Right.
And I also voice Tails in a web series on YouTube called Sonic Ops, all about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Nice. Leslie, as soon as you said you were a voice actor, I was like, oh, that makes sense because you have a very good voice. Like that makes sense. Like once you said that, I was like, I should have assumed that because like I always feel like I have mush mouth and I talk like I'm a teenager, and you speak very like eloquently and like.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you.
Yeah, you have a good voice.
Awesome.
But not to say you don't too, Holly. Everyone has a great voice.
No, I'm reading the room.
Listen, everyone jokes about this in our Discord, and I will bring it up to tell you both. When I did, because like we cover Marvel stuff as well. When I did the Agents of Shield roundtable, Ming-Na Wen told me she could listen to me read the phone book, and that was like the best compliment anyone has ever
That is
given me.
amazing.
Awesome.
So everyone take a shot. I mentioned Ming-Na Wen complimenting me, and we will see you all next time. Bye.